If I need a printout today, Rajeev, I don't have to have a printer at home. I just need to click few buttons.
How is generative AI going to impact customer experience?
With every technology that gets introduced, the expectation of your customers also increase.
Like you said, any straight-through processing will be automated, right? But there are many things for which obviously a human-to-human sort of interface would still be required.
GenAI has also started getting into the emotional quotient.
What are some of the pitfalls you think, or some overhyped things at this point in time?
Expectation that people have are not wrong. Probably your Kambali bike can also get replaced. I mean, you don't enjoy those things in Australia. So
Yeah, that's a sticking point for us. Let's not bring it up.
Give customers confidence that, okay, don't worry, we have this covered.
Actually, they're not doing much.
They're not. Because so much has happened in the last 2 years.
Yes.
That even if everything stopped today, organizations, regulators, governments, they will take probably another 5 years.
If lawmakers are struggling to keep pace with how fast the technology is moving, right? What's the impact on workforce, right? What kind of roles do you think will be redefined, redesigned, reimagined,
or eliminated?
Or eliminated.
Let's be very clear that simple roles are going to get eliminated. You have to upskill yourself.
Welcome to another episode of Curious Minds. Today, I'm absolutely thrilled to welcome another leader in our podcast who spent the good part of the last 2 decades in the customer experience transformation industry. She's greatly passionate about delivering superior customer experiences. And lately, she's been working on uplifting the customer experience for various clients around the world using generative AI and agentic AI. So it will be very interesting to hear her thoughts on how these technologies are disrupting the CX landscape. Stay tuned as she shares some very interesting analogies and anecdotes from real life to get her message across. We hope you like this episode, so stay tuned.
Gargi, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you
Welcome
for
to the show,
calling me,
Gargi.
guys. Thanks, Raju. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, so a lot is happening in the world of Gen AI. So, and Raju and I we were discussing, we're like, one industry where Gen AI is having a very, very profound impact is customer experience, CX, right?
Absolutely,
Right,
absolutely.
and I have known you for a long time, and I know that you have this huge, multi-decade experience in customer service, customer experience. So,
Yes.
and I know with that you're also quite actively engaged in many automation and Gen AI opportunities and initiatives as well. So, we are hoping to get some wonderful insights on how specifically Gen AI is transforming or is expected to transform the world of customer experience, and also maybe know a bit more if there are some myths, what's the reality, where do we stand, what's happening. So I'm sure as we go along, we will unfold and say if we talk in a year's time, there'll be many more things. But whatever we know, so we're trying to get those insights out of you today.
Yeah.
So diving straight into it, Gargi, for our viewers who might not be too much familiar when we say CX or customer experience, if you can explain in very simple terms, what is CX or customer experience, what all it entails?
Let me keep it very simple for the viewers or the listeners of the podcast.
Yeah.
Customer experience is basically when you're buying a product or when you're experiencing the service of the product or you're walking down to the store to buy a product. How do you feel? Are you valued as a customer? How much value is given to you as a customer? And how is the brand, basically looking how you feel when you are, basically in the brand, with the brand or with the product. So it's as simple as it is like going to a theater. If you go to a theaters, in those days when I was in my 20s, the theaters didn't even have proper seats. But today, if you see a theater next door, it's like they have those premium seats, the leatherette seats. Yeah. So that's customer experience, how the expectations have changed. It's not only about the money that you're putting as a customer, but it's also even with lesser amount you're looking for experience that makes you feel
Yeah.
good,
So customers are
wanted.
looking for premium experience today, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not only premium experience, I think they're looking at faster experience also. They want things to happen just
Hmm.
like that.
Mm,
uh,
mm,
a lot of telecoms, if you see, a lot of banking customers now, especially in India, if you see, we hardly go to the banks, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
It's
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
mostly on the phone. But yes, it's coming up globally also now that when I'm working with multiple banks in,
Mm,
changing the customer experience for them. Globally, they are not as advanced as we are in India. That's what
right,
I
right.
have seen, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
and
So, yeah, yeah, go on.
a- and the fear is because of the AI transformation that is happening across. There's a fear, there's a risk embedded also to this entire change that is happening.
yeah.
Mm.
So
When you say, in your opinion, India is much more advanced there, do you want to take like, why do you say so? I mean, do you want to take like one or two examples? I mean, how do you say that? Because we are sitting here in Sydney, Australia, and we are also talking to a lot of people in US. So, really curious. What do you think? How is India
so
ahead?
so I'll tell you, when I say digitally we are ahead, I think every US and Australians should actually trust us or believe us, because if I need a printout today, Rajiv, I don't have to have a printer at home. I just need to
Mm.
click few buttons on my phone, and I have the print delivered to my doorsteps.
Yeah.
So
Print there. So is Blanket delivering print as well?
blanket, yes,
Really?
yes.
Also,
Photographs
Wow.
too. Even your photographs, passport size photographs. You remember we had to go to some
Yeah.
shop and stand
yeah.
for. So there was 1 hour photograph. That 1 hour you'll get your passport photograph and all
Wow.
that. But now it's like you blink it and you have it.
So,
So yeah,
Gargi, would you also say the government also has a role in this, in the sense that the whole digital infrastructure they set up with
absolutely, absolutely,
KYC and UPI-based payments, which today pretty much allows even a tea seller to take digital payments, right? So,
absolutely. Absolutely. Digitally, India, of course, the government has supported those initiatives. Like our mobile phones are connected to our bank accounts today. In
right.
fact, my bank account number, the last digits are actually my mobile number, which
Yeah,
is scary. But the
yeah,
fact is that it has made me easier to. I don't go to banks. I've not seen the face of the bank for almost 7, 8 years now. I mean,
yeah.
Uh,
I
Same,
don't need
same
to
here.
walk in.
I
Yeah,
mean that is I guess true for the banking across the world. I would say in all major
No, not
countries.
not
No.
not no no. That's not the case in US, UK, or Australia is more digital than other
yeah,
countries, of
Mm.
course.
yeah, yeah.
So US and UK people still go to bank. There are a lot of uh, issues when it comes to basically authentication and all, wherever they need to authenticate
Mm.
more than what is required. So there's a limit, so they have to go to the bank and get that sorted out. Then
Mm.
even if they're not going to bank, they need to call up the banking contact center.
Right,
Yeah.
We don't have
Yeah.
to do that today in India.
right.
So, if we switch from this, Gargi, and if I
Yeah,
ask you that in terms of CX transformation, if we focus on large organizations, so Raju and I both work mostly in financial sector, so you can talk about that sector or any other sector
yeah,
also for that
yeah.
matter. But in
Yeah.
terms of large organization and not diving straight into Gen AI, in general, when they're doing CX transformation, what is the focus?
I think the focus today, especially if you look at retail or other organization, the focus where your product is the brand and not service, where product is the brand, the focus is always how fast can you deliver the product to the customer, how
Mm,
personalized can you make those product to be more personalized for the consumer. That becomes very important in a manufacturing or a product, basically where you're selling a product that is touchable, or that
mm.
is where you're working towards it.
So,
In
yeah,
service, it's
yeah.
more about personalization. How
Mm.
personalized? Did he remember my name when when I called him, or did he? I mean, whatever service they are providing, are they remembering the addresses that I give them, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
what,
Yeah. So, it's very clear that customer experiences become such an important part, right,
such
across
an
industries.
important part.
But it's also very vague, right? You said how does it make you feel, but how do organizations actually capture that in terms of metrics? I mean, what metrics do they use to see whether enhancing an experience has really led to revenue growth or cost on the cost side? And how do they measure that?
See, right now we are at a very nascent stage of trying to capture what the customer experience is. We
Yeah.
still rely on our CSATs or the NPS or the VOC that we received or the online transactions. So there are
Right.
multiple data points that we receive, and we probably then try to create or change the experience based on the feedbacks that we have received from these multiple channels.
Yes.
So
Gargi, you
yes,
use word CSAT and NPS. So for those viewers who may not know these, can you quickly tell us what do they
yeah,
mean?
sure. So CSAT is basically a customer satisfaction score that probably a customer would receive an SMS and the customer responds to it.
Yeah.
NPS is again the similar thing. You probably receive an email and you have to rate the experience in 4 or 5 questions that is being sent to you. There are surveys that happens. Then there are VOCs that are captured basis your basis the comments that you put in into
Yeah,
the
VOC, the voice of
Yeah.
customer.
social
Voice cost.
media,
Yeah.
yeah, VOCs.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then of course social media is a huge channel today. Twitter,
Yeah.
Mm.
one tweet in X, and then it just goes
So
viral.
whenever I'm struggling to get a response from any brand, the one thing I turn to is Twitter
I say
or
I
the
do the
or the
same.
new X. Just do one tweet and you get faster, much quicker response. Even with government organizations, that is like much faster. So,
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I agree. Social media is booming, and that's the best way if a brand wants to capture real
mm,
VOC for themselves. Social media is the platform. And that's
Right.
what they're using. A lot of Gen AI tools that in analytics that
mm,
has been built is to scrap this data and probably get the VOCs, the real time VOCs for your customer.
Correct.
mm.
I
But yes, there is a need for how can we organize all these data points in one particular
correct.
set.
I think you briefly touched upon Gen AI, and I think that's sort of very seamlessly leads us into our next segment. I have to bring your focus to the topic that the whole world is talking about. Everyone is going, absolutely nuts about this generative AI, right? It's going
Yeah,
to impact all businesses, different aspects of businesses, different industries.
yes.
From somebody who has been in the customer experience space for such a long time, what are your views on how is generative AI going to impact customer experience?
To be very frank, with every technology that gets introduced, the expectation of your customers also increase. Okay,
Yeah,
so if
yeah,
you're thinking that, oh, I have generative AI and I'll change and my customer will have a wonderful experience, their expectations will also increase
right,
with
yeah,
every. So we have to keep a pace with that too. Having said that, generative AI is going to automate simple tasks for you, and it is doing it right now. Like
yeah,
I think Taskus, that was the organization that I was reading about few days back. They have already automated transactions worth of 800 FTE in their processes.
oh,
So,
wow,
simple tasks like book my flight tickets, book a train ticket, book something like that. So, if you remember, I don't know if you remember about, I think Rajiv could relate. There was this Ask Sunday
Ask
process,
Sunday.
yeah, which is basically a virtual assistance kind of a process.
That's 14 years ago currently.
I know, but it is
Uh,
still active. The
is it?
company is still
Wow.
active, just to let you
Okay.
know. But
Okay.
apparently 80% of the tasks that Asante did today with
Mm,
generative AI would be absolutely seamless. You don't need a person sitting there and changing or doing that task for you. So any straight through processing task which are simpler, does not need too much of human logic, will be completely gone. Although
yeah.
I'm hearing this from 4 or 5 years, and we are yet to achieve that.
Because that's the thing that I want to come to. Like you said, any straight through processing will be automated, right? But there are many things for which obviously a human to human sort of interface would still be required. Let's say, I mean, an example from a financial services standpoint, let's somebody wants to apply for a home loan, they would still prefer to talk to an individual. I mean, there might be a personalized mortgage advisor who would probably do the initial data gathering and maybe recommend some products. But what's your view on that?
So the beautification of Gen AI is like AI could also actually automate your straight through processing task and everything, the STP task that we call. But when you look at Gen AI has also started getting into the emotional quotient. It also understands the human emotion and responds to the emotion accordingly, and that's how they create. Now, the only problem with generative AI is data. How
Right.
are we managing data? Because it needs a lot of data to feed itself. And the data, the way that is managed today within multiple organizations is, I mean, let's not talk about it. I mean, every time we talk about integration, we talk about
Yeah.
APIs, the technology team just goes crazy. Oh my god, you'll have an API, you want to integrate, how
Yeah.
am I
Yeah.
going to do that? Because they are
Yeah.
still working on legacy systems. So
Correct. Yeah.
yes, so once I think we are able to solve the data issue, generative AI will do the emotional stuff also. What it we don't know will do or not in future is it going to be that human to recognize you,
Yeah.
categorize you. There's a way we categorize customers, and then we understand that okay, this customer doesn't look the right, and we
Yeah.
probably treat him differently or we do differently. So that probably will take a lot of time to
Time.
come,
Yeah.
because humans don't have logic when they actually categorize people.
Yeah.
So,
Gargi, when you say availability of data, I mean, certainly, there are a few preconditions which have to be in place before you can actually
yes.
leverage Gen AI. But when you say, in terms of this customer experience or any examples you can take, but when you say data availability, what kind of data are we talking about? I mean, okay, this is sort of like a bare minimum which should be in place before you can go ahead
Yeah.
and implement
So
this.
for generative AI, when you want to implement it today at the stage that Gen AI is, you may want to have your. So, for example, a lot of organizations today do not have a proper workflow tool.
Mm,
Yeah.
The work flowing from upstream to downstream is not captured and it's
mm,
broken. So
Right.
it becomes very difficult to make the machine learn that, because it will have to take the feed from multiple data,
yeah.
and it might lose information in between wherever the
Yeah.
break is.
Yeah.
So that is a major struggle today in the organizations. And another struggle that I have seen is your data is lying in multiple places.
Correct.
Now,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
example, a retail organization, if you want an augmented feeling to be created with a generative AI augmentation into it, it's very important that before that you have set of data points where if a customer is walking into your store, how many of your customers have first gone to left, how many have them moved to right, so
Yeah.
which segment is attracting the customer first. Do you have that data today? You don't.
Yeah.
If I'm touching a particular fabric, how am I reacting to that fabric? I'm talking about a retail store. Even for a manufacturing unit, when I'm walking to a car showroom, what experience is exciting me, what is not at that point in time for a customer to feel, we are not able to capture those feeling at this point in time. I don't know how can we capture it. Maybe our cameras need to get better, our touch and feel sensations, I don't know how can we do that, but we'll have to reach to those levels if we want a real time augmented generative AI effect.
So that kind of data which you're referring to again is a different kind of data.
Yeah, that's
I'll give you an example there because this company I'm invested in as well and I follow it closely is Tesla. Okay, so
yeah,
Tesla is working a lot on their
feel, yes.
robo taxis
They
and
are.
their automated driving, full self driving, etc. Right. So what they were doing is they were writing thousands and thousands of lines of codes. This happens, do that. This
Yes.
happens, do that, but you're talking about driving on roads. there could be millions of different scenarios, and
Yeah.
coding, hard coding on every scenario, no matter how much
Everything.
you do, you will still have exceptions. So they are never they are not able to move to unsupervised. It's always a supervised, it's automated driving, right? So
So,
what they did is this: they deleted all the lines of code, and
hmm,
they had these video recordings which is captured by
yes,
millions of Teslas. They
yes,
uploaded that in a software. These are the rules of driving. This is the video footage how people drive, learn. Okay.
yes, yeah,
So that is how it learned.
And
So through Gen AI, again, we were talking multimodality as well, so it was just able to learn through this. Because the
yes.
example which you gave, retail example, it would be very, very difficult to hard code stuff. You could have your video recordings, and through that it will need to learn, but doing that would mean you'll need a lot of compute and
Lot of it. No, but
so I think
you actually need, so generative AI is the solution that will enable you to do this. Like Tesla did that. It is using Gen AI
yeah,
to to create those experience, to learn those experience, because generative AI can learn in emotions as well.
yeah.
It's the next stage of AI. So
yeah, yeah.
yes,
We are
but
talking about this these kind of data, right? For example, computer aided and all these things. My experience, right, and I think Gagi would probably agree, is that even the basic data, something as simple as customer master, right? We've seen examples where organizations
absolutely
have more than one customer master just to
more
store
than
their
one.
names and addresses and emails and whatnot. These are basic, very static data sets, right?
And
So they
that's
have,
because they don't have a workflow tool. Most of
yeah,
them have not shifted to a workflow tool, because to get any workflow tool, whether it is ServiceNow, whether it's anything, I think Medallion is, I mean, any workflow tool, they would want, boss, don't touch my legacy systems. That's not happening, right? If you don't
correct,
allow us to integrate with your legacy system, you will never have a solution where your data is at one place. Your data needs to
right,
come to one place to create a story, so that we can understand what's the customer experience, and
yeah.
basically create a solution then.
Yeah. So by now, I think we have established that yes, generative AI is going to have a massive impact on customer experience. But with all new technologies, right, people just get hyped up, and there's a lot of what do you call maybe false expectation that people start building too early. What are some of the pitfalls you think,
Yes,
or some overhyped things at this point in time, especially in customer experience from a generative AI's
I think the
standpoint?
made see the expectation that people have are not wrong,
Hmm.
because I do believe that Gen AI, and with advancement of AI, it can reach to a place where your probably your Kamwali bike can also get replaced. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't enjoy those things in Australia, but I enjoy it in India. So, so,
Yeah, that's a sticking
so
point for us. Let's not bring it up.
Uh, I
Yeah.
remember Rajiv asking me that why don't you go move out of India for jobs? Why are you not taking those opportunities? I said, I love my buys. I love my cooks. I love my bike. So, yeah. So,
Uh,
yes, we can
I
be
think we
replaced.
got the best part of this podcast. I think we just got that one line hit statement just now, I guess, right? This will get the most number of likes, I guess, this particular thing. Yeah.
uh,
No, no, great, get it.
So
But yeah,
yeah,
no.
so yes, we'll reach to a level where we might not, I mean, I don't know if you've seen that movie. There was this movie, I've forgotten the name, um, where they created clones of human, which were basically robotic clones.
mm,
And I forgot the name. I don't know how can I forget the name. But that movie showed that they're robotic clones of human being, and the human being is doing nothing. He's sitting in his room chair, probably drinking. He's all fat, and he's all, I mean, with no exercise. He can't walk, he can't talk, but then his robot is clean, sleek. He's going out the world, doing everything for him. And I was like, okay, is it possible? Uh, with Gen AI coming in, yes, it is possible. I do see that happening in next 10, 20 years, but it will take some time. One of the reason is our data management. are, is very bad globally. We are very bad at it.
Gargi, I thought that even only Raju and I are sold into this idea a lot. You are sold
Looks like you
even
are also
more.
on
That
board.
even more. You are even ahead.
You know
That
the
Kambali buy getting replaced, everything is getting replaced. So I think you are really thinking that in 10, 20 years of time, only thing we need to do is have fun.
yeah.
Everything else will be taken over by robots.
I am absolutely game. Matrix, I totally trust Matrix. I believe
Wow.
that the world has evolved and there are machines who are actually running the world
My
and
God.
we are just pods, nothing else. I believe that this is all a Matrix. This is
we
not
have
reality.
we have to do a part two of this just to focus on that aspect, I guess.
Yeah, I know,
so
but I
so
do believe yes, it's
no, but
doable, it's possible, and it will happen sooner. And we, as leaders in this industry, we need to understand that we need to start upskilling ourselves and our people too, if we want to survive.
Yeah, we will go to upskill. But one thing in terms of pitfalls, I think you will also agree, Gargi, that although Gen AI is here, but it still needs to evolve. It is not perfect. There are ethical consideration which
Yes,
we will talk in a minute. But it human in the loop today, as on today, is still very very important. We cannot rely on Gen AI totally. There are a lot of
absolutely,
hallucinations happening. It's not perfect, etc. We'll get there. So yes, it can augment the customer experience part of it. It can help your employees become more efficient. There are some less riskier things, etc., which it can deliver to customer directly. It can be available 24/7, etc., etc. So there are a lot of positives. But at the same time, we also have to be cognizant of ethical and privacy consideration,
absolutely,
and which takes me to another sort of thing which I want to talk to you about, that what like you took example of Ask Sunday and other organizations, they're already using it, but in terms of data privacy, because there are regulations, etc., which needs to be followed. So what is being done there? What are the red flags there? Or is our organizations doing anything different to what they were doing?
see, everybody is scared about the fact that there is a data privacy issue that we need
Hmm.
to still ethical and data privacy issue which we need to deal with. Now let's
Hmm.
understand. I don't know. I think 2 weeks back, DeepSeek started
Deep
making
seek.
so much
yeah,
of
Yeah.
yeah,
rave about because it's the next. They're saying that we're better than Chat GPT or any
right.
version of
Yeah.
Yeah, they have
Copilot
ranked
or
better.
anything.
Yeah, they have ranked
Yeah,
better
yeah.
at
They have
much,
ranked.
much, much, much lower fraction of the cost. Yeah.
But what about the data security within DeepSeek, which
Yeah.
we are very confident when it comes to a Chat GPT? What is your Chinese government using it, not using it? There's a fear that that gets embedded even for
Raju
Chat
wants to say
GPT.
something. Yes, Raju.
Now,
Yeah,
that is
yeah,
precisely the discussion me and Rajiv were having roughly about 30 hours back.
Yeah.
All right, and we recorded that as well, by the way, just for our viewers to see of how we debate on stuff. But yeah, I mean that was one thing that we extensively discussed. But yeah, go on. Gagi. I think we also share the same sort of concern about data privacy.
No, no,
yeah.
I would
What
say
if
not just with
what?
DeepSeek because it has a Chinese linkage, but I would say with everybody. For
With
example,
everybody, with everybody.
Microsoft, not iPhone. Apple is integrating ChatGPT
Yes,
into their phones,
yes.
right? They're calling it Apple Intelligence, but it's actually OpenAI's ChatGPT,
OpenAI,
right?
ChatGPT,
So
yes.
what there are concerns now because Apple is like this very big on privacy, etc. And even when feds they ask for the government asks for data, they deny it
They
that we
don't,
cannot,
yes, they
right?
deny.
We
Yeah,
Yes.
cannot disclose. We don't know. But somebody like Elon Musk, who again is a big figure in AI, is like, this is scary now because OpenAI is going to train even on this data and Apple cannot
Yeah.
stop it. He's like, if this is integrated into this, iPhones will be banned from Tesla factories and offices.
yeah.
No, it is scary. I'll tell you. I get very scared when in Facebook, whether it's Facebook, whether it's chat, whether even if I'm conversing with somebody, if there's a product name that I take, I see the ads coming
Mm.
in for those same product and
Yeah,
it is
exactly.
scary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
really
yeah.
scary. There are
No,
So
times,
again, coming back, what
what?
are organizations doing then to
so
prevent it? To give customers confidence that okay, don't worry, we have this covered.
actually they're not doing much,
They're not
and
doing.
that is one
Mm.
of the reason why you, when you talk about Gen AI to a customer in US or UK, they simply say, okay, let's think. Australia, they are fanatic, they don't like Gen AI, we don't talk Gen AI to them, they don't like it. So
Mm.
organizations are not doing much, they don't see. It's the new, it's like the new kid in your home. You never, he's still not trained or she's still not trained, you don't know where is it going to go, what is it going to do next. So yeah, it keeps on pooping around and we are with the diapers trying to save
No,
things,
but
but then it doesn't.
no,
I mean,
the European Union has come up with AI Act, even
they have
California laws on AI, right? And Australian government is also working on
on laws,
publishing AI
yes.
regulation. So, are they not plugging those gaps, or are those regulations not comprehensive enough to cater to these risks so
So
far?
those laws are going to help you when it is detected. Okay,
Yeah,
those are all, uh, they are not
Reactive, you're saying.
proactive, they are all
Mm.
reactive laws. If you
right.
read through those regulations, you will realize that they are all reactive. There is no proactive approach to save things.
Yeah,
Like, um, like a chat GPT is still, I mean, I don't know, I find them better is because when I write about, make a story about killing someone, they said that no, I will not write a story. But DeepSeek wrote a story about killing someone to me.
Oh, wow.
So,
Okay.
so yeah, I mean, so we need to, and then there is a global usage also of
But
these
if you ask
products
DeepSeek,
today.
is China, is Taiwan part of China? It will say, I cannot answer that.
I can, yeah, yeah, yeah. Anything Chinese, anything about the China government, anything
Hmm.
about their policies, it doesn't answer. But talk about Indian policy, US policy, it'll give you everything. So, so
So yeah, the way I look at it, I think like you rightly summarized, right? I think the regulators, the technology is moving at such a fast
so
pace. The regulators are just playing catch up, right? Just playing catch up.
yeah, they don't know what to do with this new thing. It's a
Hmm.
new
Yeah,
kid around the block. It's running around like a headless chicken, and we just don't know how to control or channelize it. But I think the good part is we've realized that there's a problem, and
yeah,
we've started, we've become at least react at least we are reactive. I think it is time that we will start getting proactive also, but who's going to leash it or who's going to do that, we don't know, because one important part is our law is divided by law of the land
yeah,
of
yeah,
that
Hmm.
particular country. Okay,
True.
and this requires a global team to come together and create a global proactive law to
Yeah. Yeah.
look at the
See,
risk that it has.
exactly. See,
yeah,
Raju and I were discussing this the other day that so much has happened. See, in 2022, ChatGPT once came in, this hype started, right? And since then, if we
Yes,
look back, that was like very, very primitive. It has so much has happened in the last 2 years that
yes.
even if everything stopped today, organizations, regulators, governments, they will take probably another 5 years
5 years
to
should be.
to digest it, to make use of it, to have some sort of regulations around it, but it is not stopping.
Yes,
And
it's
how,
not stopping.
why you cannot stop is that if one country stops it, you have deep six of the world who will take further leap and they will move ahead, and everybody wants to be a winner. But because this will be more of a
Ex-
winner takes all.
exactly, exactly. That's what is happening with technology today. Like, we are just going bombarding technology to our customer, and we are trying to tell them that we'll do everything for you, but then where is the safety for a
yeah.
particular customer? Where is your data secure or not? We
Hmm.
are not looking at that part.
So,
Yes.
so if lawmakers are struggling to keep pace with how fast the technology is moving, right? What's the impact on workforce, right? There's millions of workforce people around the world working in organizations, and enterprises. How is it going to then? It's obviously it's a very controversial topic that there'll be jobs will be killed, and people will be replaced with robots and softwares. So, what's the impact on workforce? Specifically, let's say talk about customer experience, right? What kind of roles do you think will be redefined, redesigned, reimagined
Or
in the generative
eliminated.
AI, or
Eliminated.
eliminated?
Let's be very clear that simple roles are going to get eliminated. You have to upskill yourself. You will have to upskill your team to the next level. There'll be only complex or more complex work that particularly the bot is not able to manage today will come to you. The
Mm.
simple work processes is not. And to let me be very frank with India is a BPO hub.
It is,
Philippines is
yeah.
a BPO hub.
Mm.
With AI developing, I mean, they do say that 40 to 50% of jobs are going to get eliminated in
Massive,
these
massive red
hubs.
flag.
Massive. Yeah.
Massive
Massive.
red flag. So India
Mm.
also has to look at upgrading their people. So does Philippine. You cannot say that, oh, we'll just run a contact center and it's going to work for us. It's not going to work for you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have
Yeah,
to, and I think every organization has started pivoting to the tech led kind of a
yeah, yeah,
business model rather than just being a
absolutely.
BPO. Because
Yeah,
today you cannot just be a BPO. You have to become a tech led AI
exactly.
organization to
Mm.
drive change. Uh, and it is so, so important to upskill your people today.
Yeah.
Why I say this is because if you really look at the way the organizations were spending in training 10 years back was much more than what they do today. They
Correct.
just
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
Mm.
3%, 4% of their annual budget to training, but which is so important that you need to increase that budget. And the online training sessions are going to work to some extent. People who
Yeah.
will not understand the seriousness, they will not grow until and unless you get into the classroom training. And
Correct.
hence, if you see institutes like IIM or other huge colleges, Harvard, they have all started with immersive learning programs.
Yeah.
And that
Mm.
is something that even organizations will have to build for themselves. You can't have a video playing and you know believe that
Yeah.
your team is going to get upgraded. They're not. You
Mm.
have to get
Mm.
them into immersive learning model. You have to get them into activities that will actually really upskill them. And
So,
that
so,
Mm.
so, what should CX professionals look at doing? How should they upskill? What are some areas that they can, focus on building their skill sets for this new age tech?
See, customer experience individuals will have to forget the fact that, oh, I'll talk to the customer sweetly and problems are going to get sorted and the customer will go away happy. That's
Yeah.
not going to happen because all their problem solving will be done by the AI. What are
Yeah.
you going to add on? Or what is the value that you will deliver to the customer sitting out
Mm.
there is very, very important. And
Mm.
I don't think so people have figured it out. I'll tell you
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
Because 20 years back when I joined contact center, I was said 10 years contact centers will go away, but it hasn't. It is
Yeah.
still there and it is pretty much 30-40% of revenue for most of the large BPOs or captives that I see across. What
Mm.
has definitely happened is tasks, basic queries have stopped, so the calls have stopped, reduced, but the problems have advanced because the expectation of the customer has increased. So
Yeah.
your role is not going to be zilch completely. It will never happen. Human will always want to interact with a human being when they are in stress or when they are in distress, but you will
Yeah.
get more stressed and distressed customer. How to
Yeah.
handle them, more angry customer, how to manage them
Yeah. Yeah.
is
Yeah.
Well,
going to be very, very important.
that's one thing,
Correct.
Gargi. But oh, yes, although you you would have predicted it 10 years ago, it didn't happen. But certainly they got more efficient. But something,
Absolutely.
something which was not there, which has happened now, because even Raju and I, we work in consulting, and we have been talking and referring to AI and NLP for ages now, right? But
Yes.
there was never a true NLP until this. I mean, there was never something which really shocked and put all of us in awe that wow, what
Absolutely.
is this, right? So this is something which can really talk like a human,
Really, yeah, it
right?
can.
So it can now, and like you admitted, it understands your emotions also. It can talk through
Emote,
and,
it can
and match
emote
your,
your emotion,
yes, right.
yeah.
So and so far, whenever we have interacted with any of the chatbots, they were very, very primitive. Only limited answers they'll give you, and they will always transfer you to a real human agent, right?
Yeah.
But this thing now can really chat intelligently, but can have dynamic conversations and
Absolutely.
multimodality, not just through chat, through voice as well. Equally good,
Equally
right?
good.
So,
When I open the chat GPT voice mode and talk to it, it's as good as talking to a human.
Talking to a
So
human being.
so
so
would we really need human call center apps, or it might be just like very like 2%, 5%?
Yeah, it will reduce, it will definitely reduce. I'm not saying that no, not work is
Mm,
not going away, it will
yeah,
reduce to some extent. But what will happen is newer problem in the newer world. Your customer experience has changed after COVID.
mm,
There's a world before COVID, there's a world before after COVID. I was reading a research from Harvard, which said that today maximum of your customers do not even want to reach you through a phone.
mm,
They prefer the
mm,
chat mode. If you look at, like, my daughter is 22, okay, so she's just started working, so she's in that, the Gen Z work whom we are dealing with. They are a different generation that we're dealing with.
yeah.
So she has problem with her phone or data or anything. She just wants to chat. She doesn't want to talk. She doesn't even pick up my phone. She prefers WhatsApping me
It's
rather
the
than
WhatsApp
calling.
generation, yeah.
Yeah. So and the reason is because of the social disconnect that has
Yeah,
happened in
mm,
last 10 years. If you see 10 to 15 years, the families have not been present. Okay, we've been
mm,
living in a nuclear family kind of a place. So the communication, the soft skills that we probably developed because of living in a society which was mingling, which was doing a lot of festivities together. Today they don't
yeah,
do it. They work.
yeah.
They're living in silos,
Right.
and that probably has created a new set of customers for us. These
mm,
consumers don't want to talk to us, want everything to be delivered through a tech platform for them. They want everything at doorstep. They want a Blinkit at doorstep. So my daughter told me about Blinkit, Zepto, and all that. So they want it faster. So there is a Swiggy, Instamart, and there is a Zepto. But why Zepto is better? Because Zepto is faster.
Faster. Yeah.
and they want
Although
it
they
faster and they want it free.
Free.
Yes, they
Yeah.
want it faster, they want it free, they want everything in their
Yeah.
hand. So there are
Mm,
newer set of problem. Now imagine if my daughter has a problem and it's not getting sorted by an AI. Imagine her as a customer when she calls up an agent. Imagine the maturity that agent will have to have. She will
mm,
even have to learn about the generation that she's dealing with.
Yeah.
mm.
So newer sets of problem, new, and those calls are not going to get over in 2 minutes or 3 minutes. These calls are going to continue for half an hour until and unless the problem is solved then and there.
Yeah, which is
Mm.
where data becomes extremely important, like you said, right? They'll have to learn about new behaviors, new
Absolutely.
the new
Yeah,
generation and
yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
yeah. And that executive talking to that person also, to your daughter, for example, would need a lot of insights and maybe hand holding with
Absolutely.
that AI assistant. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I need it when I talk to her. There are times I'm like, I don't have answer to this right now. But I
yeah,
remember one of my friends, she's talking to her daughter, and her daughter is like 11ish or 12. Okay, so her daughter said something, and she just told her daughter that, okay, I hear you, and I will consider your offer. Don't worry, your offer is being considered. And I'm like, why are you talking to them? Well, if I tell her no, she's going to blast. So I'm so like getting. And the response the child gave was, okay, please do consider it, mama. And I'm like, okay, we've reached to that. So imagine my daughter is just the start. The
right.
generation after that is going to be, you cannot live if Gen AI was not there with those people.
My
I'm very
God.
sure they're a different breed that we are getting into. So yes,
So,
the consumer will also change. So we have to keep that also in mind.
right.
Mm.
So you speak to a lot of CXOs and leaders across the world. Uh, do they have this intel that you're sort of sharing with us? And if yes, what are some of the areas they're prioritizing their investments in? I mean, where are they putting their money in
So
customer experience?
some of the organization have completely realized that data is the key.
Right.
And they have started investing big time into data bridge or institutions where data management is the major concern, and they have
Yeah.
started doing that. So a lot of work is ongoing to how we can organize data better, how we can you know uh, it's not only about organizing the data, it is also about getting the right data sets into
Right.
the system. So
Hmm.
how do we pull the right data set inside, how do we create better analytics out of this? So a lot of investments are now happening. I think last year to this year, I think there was this Gartner's report which said that companies have started investing at least 20 to 30% of their budgets into data management now, and which is a
Okay.
good sign because that is important. If we don't do that, Gen AI fails completely.
Okay. So it's like basically, putting the basic things in your house in order before
Yes,
building that fancy swimming pool in your backyard or putting a chandelier in
absolutely.
your living room, right? Right. Yeah, makes sense.
Absolutely,
It
absolutely.
reminds me a quote from Archimedes. Right? He said,
Yeah.
"Give me a liver long enough, and I'll move the earth." So this Gen AI is saying that give me the data good enough, big enough, and I win the world for you.
Yeah.
There is this story of this man. I don't know if he lives in UK or US. There's a Netflix series on it. Who has reversed his age? I think he was in India, and he complained about the air pollution also about this. I forgot that. I keep forgetting names. But so this guy, he uses generative AI to study his body. Basis that today he has a body of 20 year, he's a 40-year-old guy, but he has a body of 20-year-old. His liver is
Mhm.
15 years old. I mean, and
Brian, you're talking about
yeah,
Brian.
Brian, yes,
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 yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes. He eats as per the
yeah,
AI
yeah, yeah.
suggests him.
So
He
that guy is the most tracked, or tracked in the sense whatever metrics in the human body you can track is being tracked. So he's the
Yes, he's
most
being
tracked
tracked
human in the world,
in the
in the
world.
history of mankind, not the world, in the history of
Mm.
mankind.
So that's
He
data.
spends $2 million a year just on maintaining his body.
Yeah.
He lives in a place wherein the AQI is less than 10. We are fortunate,
Yes.
Raju and I are living in a place where AQI is less than 20 at least. But then this guy, I was listening to a podcast by Nikhil Kamath. He does it once a month. So that this guy came in, and this podcast was about longevity, right?
Yeah.
And it was happening in Mumbai,
Okay.
and the AQI level there in that five-star hotel was 110.
And he
Five
started feeling.
5 minutes into the this thing podcast, he's like, am I allowed to wear a mask? So he wore a N95 mask.
Yes.
Okay, and these podcasts generally 3 4 hours long. An hour or 45 minutes in podcast, his team is like, he's feeling uncomfortable, he wants to go, and he left India right after, in middle of the podcast.
Yeah. And imagine,
So
I
anyway,
am now in Gurgaon, Rajiv. So I'm in Delhi,
my
the
God.
most
Okay,
polluted city of the world.
that's why I told you leave India. It's okay, you will get a robot buy, but you you need.
We are soon going to purchase robots for our house, so the major relief is not needed, Gargi.
But I'll tell you one thing. Delhi, the people have evolved. Okay. So this is from a stand-up comedian only. So cockroaches, every time the world changes, the cockroach changes itself. So the world, until the world is there, the cockroaches will survive. That's the
Right.
truth, right?
Correct.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Delhi people have also evolved. So they will live 300, 400,
Are you
700.
calling
आने
Delhi
दो.
people cockroaches?
Cockroaches.
I didn't say that. People get
Kejriwal,
emotional.
what has Kejriwal done?
Oh my God.
So
Let's not get into politics in
let's
India.
not
We
get
can
into
do that
politics.
next time.
Yeah, next time. But although you would want a robot buy, because managing buy again is very very difficult. But if we really look like near term, say a year, 2 year, 5 year, you can pick any of your timeline. What excites you the most about Gen AI and CX? Does it scare you, or does it excite you?
It's both. It scares me because I mean, I don't know if I'm ready for. a robot sitting next to me and talking to me as if that is human, and I'm not able to even recognize if that's human. So
The
that
physical
scares me.
robot will be much, much later, isn't it?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
I mean,
before that, yeah.
I'm
Hmm.
just saying, I mean, it just
Right.
scares me that, such advancement, I don't know if
Okay.
I'm
Humanoid
prepared
robot
for it.
scares you. Okay.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if I'm prepared for it. But what excites me is the experience that I would probably get with every brand, with every product, or with every service that I probably will start, it would be next level. Like today, I really enjoy the fact that I don't have to call up my bank and everything happens on my phone. I just love it because I know it is so irritating to go to the bank and stand there for hours.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I love it. So yes, I am looking forward to the experience that generative AI will create. I would really want. I'm very bad at my clothing sense. That's what my
Mm.
daughter says. That I'm just not the right fashion guru kind for her. So I think I would love the era where, my phone tells me wear these kinds of clothes, don't wear these, and they do the buying for me also, basis my body structure, basis. I mean, I mean, who doesn't like to have a personalized
Yeah. Yeah.
solution? So yes, generative AI can do that. It will do that. It will make you more organized. You probably would be investing time on things that you love doing,
Mm.
and you may
Yeah.
less, stop investing time on things that you don't like doing or you're not good at. It'll make you more efficient tomorrow, as a person. But you need to upskill yourself also. You
And what I
learn,
also
learn,
get
and
is,
learn.
it's not just improving existing experiences. Probably, or I think most likely, this technology is going to create entirely new experiences which we did not even think that would be possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's going to make you, it's actually going to make you more efficient. To be very frank, if you look
Mm.
at it correctly, if you analyze it correctly, it'll actually make you more efficient. It's a tool
Yeah.
for every human existence to become a better human being, or, to become more efficient in what you are good at.
Right.
Because
Right.
Mm.
Yeah.
if you invest more time in what you're good at, you will actually create more value, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
absolutely. So yes,
Correct.
to that point,
It will give all the capabilities a lot of
it
leverage,
will.
basically, right?
It will.
Yeah.
It will. What
Mm.
scares is, of course, the privacy. I don't know if that data is going to remain with that bot, or it will get
Mm.
shared somewhere else. It's there somewhere in the cloud. Anybody can burst that
Yeah.
cloud, or, decode it. So my data probably is with everybody today. So that scares me. That definitely scares me, but I'm sure in newer world we'll have a newer way of tackling those issues as well.
So,
I think a lot of organizations are now investing on security also, so
right.
we
Right.
should see some change.
You know what? The last 1 hour just went by a flash. We had such
Yeah.
awesome conversation, Gargi, and I just wish we had some more time to just go on. But unfortunately, we've reached the end of this podcast. Thanks for just agreeing to join us and share great insights. So we talked about what customer experience really is and why is it so important in today's world, more so than ever, and the impact of generative AI on customer experience and how it will just sort of give it a completely different boost altogether. You also talked about some of the key areas around data management, etc., where organizations are prioritizing their investments.
Yes.
Ethical AI and data privacy, I think you called out, are concerns that you see that obviously are big concerns and needs to be addressed. You mentioned about upskilling. I think it's relevant for all of us, right?
All
The
of
I
us,
think the
yes.
entire workforce sort of needs to see what pathways they will take to upskill themselves to stay relevant. But the highlight was the robotic maids,
Robotic
buys. I
ways.
think that's going to be the punchline of
I
this
I
podcast.
can feel the pain you both are going through.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
But
Yeah. No, thank
so
you. Thanks a lot, Gargi. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
thank you. No, I
Yeah.
just wanted to make you feel a little more, sad. I have four basically house help who come across. One who comes cleans, one
Wow.
who cleans my car. There's another one who cooks for me, and there's a 24-hour
That was the mic drop moment.
I also want to make you feel a bit sad. We have this air quality which is like 10 or 20.
Rajiv,
We,
my
ah,
husband, so my husband is from Uttarakhand, okay? So when I go to Uttarakhand, where we have our village house and all, the AQI is below 10. It's amazing out there. So
oh.
yes, when I feel
So you
dead
know how
in
it
Delhi,
feels.
I
Like
go.
we get it every day. So but it would be a great world where
But
we
the
can get best of both the worlds, right?
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So we are going to get those buys in future, but will you get those 10 AQI? Will you get the Uttarakhand air quality in Delhi? Maybe yes. I don't know. Maybe yes.
No. I'll shift to Uttarakhand. That's my plan.
Oh wow.
That 5 6 years, I am going to go and stay there. I have 24, and of course, the perks are still there because I'm still
Yeah.
in India.
Same
Right.
here, Gargi. So
On then,
I'm sure we
yeah.
will talk again, maybe in a year's time or
Sure.
2 years' time, again on this topic itself and see where we have come.
Where
Because I'm
we
sure
have
things
Yeah,
are
come.
right.
changing very, very fast, and I'm sure a lot it will surprise us in the future.
Right.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
On that
Okay.
note, to all our viewers, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned for more such engaging conversations. And as always, keep learning, stay curious, and see you in the next one. Thank you.
Thank you.